it up. Okay. Bleep. Okay, go. Beep, beep, beep. Hello and welcome to another video where we're going to be showing you how we installed our underslung gas tank. The things that we're actually going to be showing you is the parts, how we fitted it, and how we filled it up and tested it.
And didn't explode it.
Yes, we didn't explode.
We've been using the van for about 5 months now, and we're super pleased that we did the underslung gas tank because it's really easy to use. It lasts for ages. I think we've only filled it up 3 times. You just have to find like a petrol station that has AutoGas, and you just fill it up like petrol.
Super easy.
Yeah, but with gas, not petrol.
Don't put petrol in it.
Don't put petrol in it.
Share with you all the products, and the way that we're going to do that is go from the filling nozzle through all the products and items into the gas application. We have a heater and a gas hob. The journey starts at the fill point. So this is the fill nozzle for LPG. Looks like that. That is the UK fill point. On this particular mounting system, it simply mounts under the sill of the van, something like that. So that's the start. From the fill nozzle, it goes through a hose. This needs to be a high pressure hose and goes into the tank. And that simply screws on one end to the other.
25
litre tank.
Isn't it?
And it fills up to 80%. It's got a little gauge here, and we've actually got, we've replaced the gauge, which you simply unscrew 2 screws. And then it's got cables so that it can go out to a display, LED display. As part of the tank, we've just got a manual open and close valve, which will let the gas into the low pressure side. So you have a high pressure side, which is from filling station into the tank. Then you have a low pressure side, which is from the tank into all your applications. So as part of the tank, we have these really amazing mounts. These are what bolt to the underside of the van. They've got 1 hole in each end. So you need 4 bolts because you've got 2 cradles. And they actually fit to the underside of the chassis, and they've got the right angle, the right length for this particular vehicle, which is a Citroen relay, which will be the same as the Boxer and the Ducato. And you simply drill holes in your van and pop some bolts through. You don't have to drill through the floor, because that's really handy at this stage because we've already put down our floor. They're the best and most simplest thing that we've seen. And talking to Chris made it understandable, because otherwise it's quite a confusing unknown. There's not much out there for DIY underslung gas fitter. So then you also get fatty bolts. You get a bolt. You've also got a spacer which stops the vehicle from getting crushed. So at one end you drill the 10mm bolt hole, and at the other side you drill a 13mm hole, so that the anti-crush bit of bar can go in, and that stops when you tighten it up, it stops your van chassis from actually crushing. You put some rubber mount around the cradles and you bolt them up. It's as simple as that. So that just sits on there with a bit of rubber and you squeeze it shut. These are very hardcore cradles and have been built to the code of practice. That's the tank held in place. You're then coming out the low pressure side. So then you want to go through a bit of tube. You go through the regulator, which does make you go to low pressure. And then from the regulator, so that connects into the tank, you go through to plastic copper tube. It's coated in plastic. The reason it's coated in plastic is because it's under the vehicle. Any copper pipe under the vehicle needs to be coated in plastic. This is 8mm. And we're actually going to drill a hole then through the bottom of the van. Once you're in the van, we've got our first single ball shut-off valve. So that means we shut the gas off to within our van. We've got 2 valve manifold. So the gas goes in. It's got a blocker there, and then you can turn off. Which way does it go? Turn on and turn off the gas there, which is good for testing. And again, another isolation valve. There's also this heat barrier. It's really close to the exhaust. You have this heat shield, which connects through pre-drilled holes already in the van. You just undo some 13mm bolts and reattach this, and it just gives the tank a heat shield against the exhaust. And that is everything that comes in the kit. One last thing that you get from AutoGas 2000 is instructions. You get 1 page of instruction per product that you've bought basically, and it also has some images.
Look at him with his setting everything out all nicely. It's like a kid in a toy shop.
P-clips for clipping the copper pipe, which I didn't mention.
Right.
Time to fit this bad boy. Like, so the first step is to
mark out where that's gonna go.
What do you call it when you place it and just like look at it where it's supposed to be?
I guess just do a recce.
They used a word in the instructions. Oh, what's the word? Just do a recce. So we've got this cool wheelie trolley. We're going to look at where it fits.
So you're currently just playing around with the cradles and seeing where they fit.
Whereas if you fit it next to those bits in the middle,
that looks perfect.
Fits better. So we are drawing holes where we want to drill. So it's got 2 bolts, one on this side, one on this side. This thing fits perfectly up between the subframe and the chassis. We were just questioning, there's a line of metal here, so it's sort of double walled, and if we wanted to get as far away from the exhaust at that end, fit it inside this, but there's brake cables and other things. And after looking at some photos from AutoGas 2000, they fitted it to the inside of these lines of metal because it just makes it a little bit overly tight. Fitting it in like that, and then I'm drawing where I want to drill our hole. That is good.
So Tom's just undoing the fastenings for the exhaust. Now it's time to drill holes.
Oh yeah. Excellent. Oh yeah. It all makes sense. Once you've drilled the holes, you can use the 2 bolts in each cradle to attach it to the chassis. Use a torque wrench to up all the bolts to get the right amount of pressure. You can then put the gas cylinder into the cradles, one end at a time, and add the rubber to the inside of the cradle so they don't rub on the cylinder. I then use the jack to support the cradle to do it up. And these bolts also need to be done up with a torque wrench. After that, we added the heat shield using the 4 bolts that hold the exhaust. We then played around with the hoses, finding the best route and places to attach them.
So the tank is now on and we've sprayed it with undercoat, or is it like a protective spray? While that spray is drying, we are putting on the filler cap. There's the little hole.
One of 2. It's all fitted. I've sent some videos and some photos to the owner of AutoGas 2000 and he said it looks alright from his end. Obviously that doesn't class as actually signed off by anybody official. So I'll show you what we've done. Starting at the beginning, we have our gas fitting or filler cap just here. So it's got a plastic cap, pulls off, and there it is. It simply has 2 bolts at the top, drill the holes and then you bolt it on. And then you've just got 4 screws to do up here. So that's very easy. It then has a 90-degree elbow, but you can get whatever fitting you want. And then that leads to one end of the gas tank. shield here, this bit. Heat shield and also sort of chip guard or stone guard. That's the distance from the exhaust at the end. And then the only other thing to note is when installing it, you need to make sure it's at the right angle. It has got a little indicator over here, but I'm not really sure what you do with that. What Chris says is we had it too far down, so this was too low down to begin with. So he sent a picture and there's this handbrake mechanism here that leads down through the back of the van, and you really want top of the gauge cover or whatever valve cover to be just below it. That should mean that the tank is at the right level, or at least pretty close. Then inside it, well, it's got the bits, the filler tubes going in and out. So that one's the one coming in on this side. And then we've got the valve, isolates the gas inside the tank, the tube that comes out the tank going into the van. We have the regulator, just got some self-tapping screws into the roof here. We then have, this was a 10mm regulator exit. Chris sent us a reducer, so it goes from 10 down to 8, because we're using 8mm copper everywhere. 8mm plastic protected copper that then leads up here. So the white one is the copper pipe, so it goes from over there. There's actually the back wheel suspension arm. So there's the back wheel. This is pretty sketchy filming. There's not much space. So then our gas goes in there, and actually this is where our HS2000 exhaust pipe and whatever flue are coming in and out. Well, coming out. And we've also got a drop vent for the HS2000 because we've got gas joints in this cupboard. So now we're looking at where the gas comes into the van. It actually comes in just down here through this hole. Under this box is our gas heater, and you can see we've got some isolation shut-off valves. So we've got a single one for everything, and then we've got the 2-manifold one, which one goes to the gas heater. You can see the copper go down there, and the other one goes in behind this wall, runs along here, under here, and up to our gas hob. And in this bit of the video, we're going to explain how we filled the tank and also tested the joints. The first thing to do is to double check that 1, the valve on the tank is closed so that no gas can leave the tank, and 2, that the 2 joints that lead to the tank are definitely very tight.
And then we went to the AutoGas station and we filled up with 5 litres of gas. This is our maiden voyage to go get some gas and test our gas system. It's done. It was remarkably easy. We got 5 litres.
Hopefully there's no leaks now, so we'll go off and check it with some leak detection, and then come back and hopefully fill up the rest.
But so far so good.
So far so good. Oh, I'm so excited.
And then found a nearby car park where we could pop underneath the van and spray on the leak detection spray and look for any leaks. Tom is just suiting up to spray some stuff. That's the technical name.
Shake well before we use.
Good luck.
Thanks. So you spray the stuff on, and then it will just show up any bubbles. So if there's a little leak, it'll be bubbling away and it'll hold the bubbles. But fortunately, we didn't have any. Apparently, you can just use like water and
soap.
Water and soap. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's looking good. I think it's as simple as that.
It's quite a nerve-wracking time putting gas in your tank for the first time. We were really, really careful just to, take our time with it.
We can always test it again at home. Is that all of the joints you've done?
I've done 2, because the rest are closed.
Okay.
We just tested the high pressure end, so there's no gas actually in the van yet. There is gas in the cylinder and it's not escaping, at least up to the shut-off valve on the cylinder, so that's good.
Now we go home and we test the inside gas.
So after we checked the high pressure side, we then went back to the filling station and filled up the tank fully.
Then we came home and we tested the inside system. So we turned on the gas and Tom went around to all of the joints with the leak detection spray and made sure that they weren't leaking too.
There was a few little leaks here and there. Where the joints were only done up very loosely, a little nip up stopped all the leaks. So thank you for watching.
Thank you.
And we thought we'd cover a few last bits.
We hope it was really helpful because we really struggled in the beginning to decide which system we wanted to go for, and we thought that we could put this together and it would take you kind of from start to finish and what we did. But again, we're not professionals. This is just one way of doing it, and this is the way that we were most comfortable and confident with doing.
Absolutely.
And AutoGas with the instructions and speaking to Chris, it really gave Tom the confidence to actually do it. So that's why we did it that way.
Why did we go for an underslung gas tank instead of bottle inside? Originally we did have a bottle.
Bought it and everything.
Yeah, we had everything ready to go. We had a different kind of gas fitting, we had a different bottle. We were going to do an interior gas bottle. But the problems with that is, one, you've got to have gas inside the vehicle, not as keen. Secondly, you've got to build a gas safe locker, which is quite a lot of carpentry. You've got to have quite a lot of holes. It's actually quite a complicated thing to build. Whereas if you just pop it underneath, it's actually very simple and it's out the way and it doesn't take up so much space.
And it's super easy to fill and it's just not a worry. The tank's also bigger, so we actually get more gas, so we've only filled up 3 times.
Downside is, it is a bit more expensive. And one other thing I wanted to cover is how we held the tubes and the pipes under the van to the van, is you use these things called P-clips, which are very simple pieces of metal that wrap around the pipes. Most of them have sort of a rubber seal so that it's not metal on the tubes, it's actually rubber, so there's a bit of give and it doesn't cut into the pipes and it looks like a P.
I mean the letter P.
Yeah, I was going to say, not the vegetable.
No.
How do we bend the copper pipe? Well, we bent it using these. Very easy. We didn't use a tool. On another build I did use a tool and it was good, but actually you can just use your hands. The copper pipe is very malleable and quite forgiving. You just have to be careful that you don't bend it too sharp because then you will kink it, which is bad.
Bad, kinky pipe. For the long term, we didn't want to keep using the gas leak spray, so we got ourselves a snazzy gas sniffer. I don't know that that's actually the word. And it works. You can hear it maybe ticking along. It's called a Yeezu combustible gas detector.
It's about £30.
We just wanted some peace of mind to know that every now and then when we've been driving around and things have been shaking around, that any of the joints haven't come loose or anything. So we just every now and then go around. I mean, how often?
Every month or so.
And we just put this up to the joint, sniff out any gas, and now it's green, ready to go. And then it goes off.
It's getting sniffy.
So it's very sensitive. We've used it a couple of times, located a slight leak, and then Tom's been able to tighten it up, and Bob's your uncle.
Good piece of kit, and it's very sensitive. It's better than the leak detection spray.
Thanks for watching. We hope that this video will help you with your gas system, and if you've got any questions, leave them below.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.